Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby and the 2016 Bash for Cash. Demo Derby Masters. Winter Slam 2016. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash and Capital City Carnage. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the Finger Lakes One.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Brian's singing along with the intro over there. Remember when you got spoken to about singing? Do you remember that?
Most people liked it, to be honest with you.
I don't think anybody liked it.
I think most people at Blizzard Bash enjoyed it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody could hear it other than Frosty. Oh well, everybody on pay-per-view.
Everybody at home could hear it.
Are you going to do that again for everyone in a matter of
2 weeks?
2 weeks. You're gonna grace everyone with your karaoke?
I'm thinking about it. I'm just trying to figure out which song I should sing. I'm thinking maybe.
Are you gonna let Kevin pick? Just
No.
let Kevin pick that? No. You're gonna send over demands?
No, I'm gonna work on a playlist before we get there, and we're gonna see if we can get that instituted.
It is right around the corner, and we're going to be live on DerbyNation.tv with the 2017 edition of Capital City Carnage right around the corner. You can jump on SmashedEmpireMedia.com and get your get signed up for your fantasy team. You can also go right to the race stats page. There's 176 teams. I saw Zach Olson had posted his update. We'll get into that in a little bit. We've got Sam Williams coming on in about 15 minutes or so to talk about Capital City Carnage and where everything's at that route. One thing that I did pick up quickly on Zach's post about the most popular selections for the fantasy league was
I know where this is going.
yeah, that was Ben and Josh were pretty popular.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Ben because Josh is used to going to these derbies and having everybody want to kill him as soon as he gets on the track. Ben, on the other hand, this is going to be the first time having everybody on the track want to take care of him, so it ought to be interesting for him.
But Ben's not unaccustomed to it.
No, I mean
he's had that nature forever around here, especially at Seneca County. But it's a completely different world than that pincushion atmosphere that he's accustomed to when you roll through that. I was talking with Mike Osterhout at Finger Lakes Speedworld about this. When you drive through that tunnel, the way that Josh and all the drivers we've talked to that have discussed it, drive through that tunnel, and all of a sudden the bowl opens up around you, and it's all these lights, and you come out to a spotlight, and the berms are higher than the roof of the car, and it gets your juices
10,000
going.
people looking.
Yeah. On the plus side, Ben's also used to driving wide open. He of course tonight is watching sectional basketball as the Miners Blue Devils and his son go for the sectional title. So it'd be nice to see them cap their run. And Josh, I haven't heard anything from Josh. Josh, I don't think I heard from him after he told me that Rosa's car wasn't going to make it to Finger Lakes Mall. And I called him once or twice, and he's been getting his boss's boss has been going on rides with him every Wednesday. So it makes it hard to get a hold of him on Wednesdays. And then after that, we turned all of our attention to Finger Lakes Speedworld. Huge success this year. My dad came out of this a huge winner. He got to hang out with a bunch of the Derby guys, made some new friends. But cool. They nestled the 74 Chrysler that Mike Osterhout won and his Monaco or Fury were side by side. Mm-hmm. Then they had Zach Herman's LTD that he's already begun converting over to the mod class rules. It's insane what he's done to this car so far. It didn't have a motor in it, and then he was nose to nose with David Stone's F250, and Jamie Brown had his fresh Lumina off to the side with the roof sign on it and everything. Behind that was the Joanne Fabric Room where they had the RC Derby. In and around all that was an ultra wheelbase 64 Plymouth and a 62 Rambler wagon with a blower on it higher than the roof from South Butler Dragway. Awesome. So between the Derby stuff and the drag racing stuff, the ultra wheelbase car was just so cool. It was so cool.
Is that the one where they put the wheels back underneath?
They shove all the way. They move the body back on the frame, so the front wheels are right at the bumper, and the back wheels are under the window. Okay. And if you're familiar with a 64 Dodge 330 or a 64 Belvedere with that funny shaped angular back window, that was what the car was. Cool. And it was it had a big gap cut out of the front window for an extra tank off the right corner. It was a race car.
Awesome.
And so my dad met a bunch of like-minded friends there, and they got talking more and more about drag racing and more. And then he found out that they've only got a 4-week schedule. They run 4 times, once a month from June through September.
Really? I didn't realize it was only once a month.
It's not even a racetrack per se. It's a nostalgia dragway where you pay $20.
Oh yeah, my dad went over there in the 60s.
That might even have been when it was King's Dragway. Cuz
what's it called now?
Now it's South Butler.
No, it was they still called it. I don't know if he said
it opened as King's, and I mean
Dad always called it South Butler. I don't know if he just called it that because that's where it was, or if it was.
That's. I mean, how many times we talk about Weedsport is Weedsport because that's the city that's in, or Dundee because. Yeah. But yeah, way back it was King's Dragway when it opened it, but then it went through some changes, and then it was closed for a long time. Not to get too far into the drag racing thing, but he ended up talking with them, and it looks like instead of being at Paradise this year, he's going to be the track photographer for the drag strip, which is kind of cool. He's all excited about that. So now I'm trying to talk him into buying a CUDA.
How's that going with Mom?
Mom didn't know that he was the photographer yet when I saw both of them this morning.
You took care of that quickly?
Well, I prefaced it. I prefaced the CUDA talk with the fact that he was the track photographer. So pretty much all of it's going not well. Front to back.
Nice. Nice.
He's excited about it. He's got Alan talked into going, so I guess I got to sell all Alan's RC Derby stuff because he's all done with that now.
Yeah, I doubt it, but okay.
No. He was in all his glory after that RC Derby. That Derby there was a ton of fun. That was the hardest inspection that probably any of the New York guys had gone through.
I seen some pictures. You had to do a little cutting, a little drilling, a little.
I wanted to let everybody know that we were being true to what the rules were. The stuff that we do down in Dundee, there's 6-8 cars. Everybody builds about the same. Nobody's overbuilt, but if there's too many rivets holding your bumper on, usually up to this point, it's just been a learning experience to get ready to go to the bigger shows. They go to the bigger shows and everything's fine. Well, this is one of the bigger shows. So all those guys that were kind of on the fringe that have said, maybe next time take this out. Next time they didn't. They needed to. So I brought my car up there the night before, and I handed it to Ed, who he was going to try to come here tonight, but he's not feeling well. Handed it to Ed, and he looked it over. He said, well, I'd say this is probably a legal car. I think this is fine. And I said, okay. And he goes, the way you said okay tells me that I missed something. And I said, it wasn't just one thing. So I went through and I made the car legal on the bench, and he came over to me, and his eyes were popping at the pile. His wife, Kathy, actually called him from Virginia and said, is everything okay? It looks like they're starting to complain about the rules. But I put that out there so everybody knew that, you're come ready to make adjustments. And there was a couple of people that had messaged and said that they had done it before they even got there. And everybody was well within the rules except for one car. And it was an honest mistake. He had gotten approved for inspection when he went through with an illegal battery. He had the big battery in for the national rules, not the small battery for the stock rules, and he ended up winning. Yeah, and the way that I handled it, and if I'm right or wrong, whatever, it came down to a battery battle. Everybody was getting bored. He had a broken axle. The other car was running slow, so they were just kind of knick-knacking around. One of the drivers had ended up saying, I'm kind of getting bored of this. Let's just wrap it up. So the win stood because he went through tech and he got a stick. Ed said it was my fault, not his. And Jerry genuinely said that he didn't know that there was a difference in the battery provisions. And I showed him.
Which class did Alan run?
Alan ran both.
Nice.
He ran both. And so Jim wasn't thrilled, but I took the money from first and second and split it, so they both walked away with the same amount of money.
Cool.
Then we went to the national class, and it was perfect. I mean, everybody was built pretty much the same. There was no issues at all in terms of the tech process of it. Everybody was ready to. There may be a game Saturday. Interesting. What's this all about? There may be a game Saturday. I don't know. We'll have to see. Must be that's relation. My kid's playing soccer right now. So the national rules, there's 21 cars on the track, and the track was like, I think it was 16 by 12. And you saw how black the track got.
Oh, yeah.
Half the track had some stuff on it. Half of it didn't. We got it cleaned up, so it was fine. But but that end was awesome. It ended up coming down to Nate and Jerry Brown, and just like a couple weeks ago when I drove up on the dead car, Jerry took a big swing at Nate. Nate got out of the way, and he ramped right up on the back, and his back bumper caught the ground. His back tires were off, and Nate wouldn't come anywhere near him. And that was those guys went for about an hour and 15 minutes, and they were slamming on each other.
Wow.
They were blasting each other. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
But got to see Zach Herman had a good time. Had a bunch of new cars come out. Dirty Derb Nation, Tracy Young and his crew. They all came out for the first time, so they're looking forward to March 19th and getting down there to Dundee and running down there. So yeah, all in all, it was a pretty successful venture. Demolition Derby cars took over part of the mall.
You got an RC Derby March 19th?
Yeah, about that.
How's that going to work?
Somebody else is gonna have to run it for me.
Unless it's late in the afternoon and you fly from Rochester
it's gonna be right now. The game plan is for it to be at 3:00. And there's
you could come sliding in there just out of control. I mean, you will have to take different vehicles to the airport, but
yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that would be a wise move in terms of my home life either.
Yeah, but what if Melissa brought Alan to run and met you there? Then everybody's happy.
You're full of great ideas.
I try to be.
I
try to be. I really do. I like to help out when I can.
You're leaning on. You're leaning towards something. I kind of like it. But I don't know.
I think that's the deal.
He took his stock car in that thing. The front was pushed so far back over the factory bumper of the car that it ripped the skid plate out, and the front fenders had collapsed down on the front wheel, so he couldn't steer it but right. He could turn right, no problem, so he's just blowing a bunch of donuts. And then after that, the nose had collapsed back so far that the frame rails or the door bars in the front had both pitched into the car at 90 degrees. So It was basically the front bumper and then the firewall, basically.
That's awesome.
He was pretty proud of that car. He helped build it. He helped paint it. Everything. He was involved with the whole thing. It was white fender hood with orange in the center, and he had taken painter's tape and taped off the letters Allen and then spray painted over it. So when he peeled the letters off, it was white letters.
Nice.
Yeah, he was stoked. He thought it was cool. And then he had a Buffalo Bills car for the national draw, red, white, and blue.
Nice.
It was good.
I'd claim American car over the Buffalo Bills car, but it is what it is.
He likes football.
He likes
football. He's at soccer now, and he's begging to go play lacrosse.
Good for him. My youngest is going to try lacrosse this year. I'm kind of excited by that.
Yeah.
Baseball is America's sport, but unfortunately, I have a little bit of something where
attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
See the new study? That's not real. ADHD. It's not a real thing.
I've watched some really cool documentaries on Netflix. There's some screwy stuff that goes on in the world. I don't know if you've paid attention or not.
I'm aware of the screwy stuff, but the farther out I get from the 4 channels that I watch on TV at home, the more I find out that I haven't seen anything yet.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I've seen nothing yet. Nothing.
Goodness gracious. We got to hit Wayne Ellison Jr. had the first
I was gonna dive into that a little bit more at the end, but I mean you bring it up now. Tying that back to Finger Lakes Speedworld, I bumped into Gary Pallone, who owns Paradise Speedway, and he was awestruck. He goes, "Those guys are crazy." I talked to Eric Remington, and he said you couldn't stand still for more than 2 or 3 seconds because the wind coming across the field was a smooth 50 miles an hour. But there was a ton of people there, and all the people that planned on traveling, most of them came. There's something like 7 states represented.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, just thinking offhand of what I know, we had Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky.
Canada also. Not that that's a state, but
Clark
was there.
I'm sure Ron McClung was there.
Ingram was there. Your IFD was there.
Yeah.
Your IDF.
IFD. Ingram Family Demo. Ingram Family Demo. It's just his name.
Yeah, Ingram Family Demo. But yeah, there was definitely great turnout. And that's the thing is my oldest son was at a football camp, so I wasn't. We got back. By the time we got back, it was almost 3:00. So I was, but I texted him. I said, "Hey man, I heard it was a great turnout. Congratulations." I said, "My only advice next year is warmer temperatures and strippers, and I think it would be perfect." So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, it was great.
Is it better to do it this time of year though? I mean, think of all the people that are tax time ballers right now that are ready to throw some derby money around.
Well, yes, to a point. If you can, if the weather is a little better. I mean, this is usually the time of year we'd have it because the first 3 or 4.
If the weather was like it was today, they would have had 30% more people.
Oh
easy.
gosh, yeah. absolutely. But that's the thing is what I was going to touch on was I think maybe one year when Brett had it at his Derby party, the weather was it was chilly, kind of, breezy. But other than that, the weather was really decent. And, it just kept growing and growing. And I mean, to get for a first time and to get this many people, I think it bodes excellent for next year. Because, I mean, like I said, it was always around this time of year because this is the time of year that Brett used to have the Derby party. So,
well, they got a great thing going right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Bookending the season with the swap meet, so to say, and then the cleanup Derby at the end of the year. I mean, they got lightning in a bottle right now.
Absolutely. They're doing great. And, I mean, the only way it could ever possibly improve is if you had a building that was big enough to put it in, so at least you'd be out of the wind. But I mean,
or a building for reserve vendor space.
One of the two. But it's definitely again I touched on it when we were in Minnesota. I mean, Derby fans are just so hardy. I mean, that's like no other sport. I mean, and they didn't even come to Derby; they came to trade parts. Basically and sell parts. I mean, it's not like they were coming to
see the load of bumpers that Klingers brought up.
Oh, good, yeah.
Tommy Dowd had a bunch of pre-run bumpers that and I don't think he left with any.
Tommy, I was texting him back and forth, and I said, "Well, what'd you buy?" "I bought a cradle, I bought a tranny protector, I bought everything." I'm like, "Where are you running?" He's like, "Honestly, I don't know." And I'm like, "Terrific, Tommy, way to go, buddy."
That's some sage decision making right there.
Yeah, he'll run somewhere. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tommy go to Bash. I don't know if he'd turn back the clock or run the '80s class, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Tommy Dowd go down there. I mean, there's a lot of good guys that that I would not be surprised to see go down there and run, but it would, and I know there's a few guys that are going back this year and some are trying for the first time, but I think you're going to start seeing guys traveling more. I really truly believe that, but let's see how it goes.
Some of the feedback that we've got indicates that there's some folks that are going to be traveling.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this with Mike Osterhout at the mall during Speedworld on Sunday morning, is how much smaller the Derby world has become. And then you start, and it's something that we hit on the show. Ben made the point is how when Kansas hard trickles into Ohio, to pair up against Ohio hard and Ohio hard, because the theories of those builds are quite different.
Yep.
And then you start taking just the one driver and you pick them up by the back of the neck and drop them into this other pool over here. Mm-hmm. You start seeing how Mad Mike fares in Florida stock, and he ran the table. And then you take Brad Tice and you see how he fares in Kansas. Mm-hmm. Or you see how Johnny Gullo does with a stock car in Buffalo, like we saw in Hamburg a couple years ago. And all this starts to continue to crisscross.
That was awesome.
That time you messed it up. There's no question. Brian just drop kicked the camera for the second time tonight.
Our camera setup guy got it closer to me than usual, so it's on him, I believe. But
do you know why I put it so close?
So I couldn't put my chair up?
Frame of reference was you didn't have the foot up yet when I moved it over.
Oh.
And I put it a lot closer than I should have. Usually you have the foot up by now, and I would have just put it right up against that.
I just thought you don't want me falling.
I got to show you. Did you see the picture of the Steve Payne car yet?
Which one?
The Sweeteners Plus car?
No.
I got to show you. Best car I've ever done.
Oh, for the...
I made the RC car version
RC
of
car?
Yep.
Cool. Are you running it or somebody else?
No. Somebody commissioned it.
That's cool.
Commissioned it, and I was very upset when I had to give it away.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I have not seen that. But there's some awesome graphics and paint jobs that are going on those RC bodies.
Yes.
There's some awesome...
This is a race car. Everybody permit me the quick modified tangent so that we could hit on that. But we were talking about how we could drop different people, different places. We're going to see Brad Tice again in a couple weeks when we get out to Capital City Carnage, brought to you on pay-per-view, DerbyNation.tv. Get your fantasy teams in.
Have you looked at the final drivers list?
Yes, I had to key it into the fantasy league.
Sorry, that was a tough question. My mistake. There is...
In fact, after I put it together, I had to do it again because there was more names.
That modified heat is going to be nasty.
Clever Lang said it best. Remember? What's your prediction? Pain.
Wow, is there some nasty cars. And I was talking with Sam Bandow, and he's trying a little something different, and I cannot wait to see how that goes out there.
What do you mean?
I can't tell you. I don't know if I'm sworn to secrecy, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag either way.
When you say that he's doing something different, did he change the transmission combination?
I can't say.
Did he change his engine combination?
I can't say.
Is this a unique car choice?
I can't say.
Is it not even a Mopar?
I can't say. Bandow's going to be It's going to be impressive. Brad Tice is...
Just remember, let the record show that we saw him run a tilted Ford once before.
Mm-hmm. Twice before. He ran one last year at Capital City Carnage, and he ran
That's
one
right, he did.
Blizzard Bash.
He did.
And the front of his...
3 times.
Yeah.
No. 3 times. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't go to the Wadena team show.
No, you're right. I didn't. I did not. My mistake.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. I forgot he ran one at Blizzard Bash.
Let the record show that the front of that Ford was...
Oh, really?
The front of that Ford was still straight at Blizzard Bash.
You're talking about the black one, the Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he had last year at Blizzard Bash. He had that 03 nose figured out. So it's I can't after looking at that, I mean it's hard to say, what you're looking most forward to, but that class is top to bottom. That is going to be a nasty, nasty class. And did you see Kenny Rosno and Kyle? Obviously you did, but Kenny Rosno and Kyle are running.
Yes.
I wonder if they'll get a WFO shot on Decker just out of principle.
If they get hit wide open, it won't be Ben's fault.
No. No. I just I hope that transmission's tight, and I hope that motor's tight, because it's going to be tested.
I saw a picture of their seats. I thought they looked like they were lazy boy recliners sitting on the floor of that.
Yeah.
Better be cushioned.
Yeah. Still makes me nervous so having a passenger in a car.
Hey, can I put you in? You're saying you're nervous about having a passenger?
Yeah, I would be nervous
Why?
having a passenger in a car and running against cars with passengers.
When your passenger is Ben, do you have that much to be concerned about?
Yeah, still. I just, because you're so used to, even out there, I mean, guys are used to hitting you in the passenger's door at 40, and it's just, you know what I mean?
Just skin it. Just skin it.
Still. Makes me nervous, but.
We got Sam Williams joining us here on the hotline as we got 2 weeks removed from Capital City Carnage. Sam, you all ready to go?
Absolutely. I heard Brian was going to sit in the passenger seat while I drove.
Well, if you're making me the offer, I guess so. I mean, I won't turn it down.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, we're getting ready to go. Getting the final stuff done. Candace and I were just talking today and going through our checklist. So I think we're pretty much ready. We start loading trailers on Friday and head down there on Tuesday. So, no, it should be good.
Okay, so real quick, we know that Sam's not driving, but Brian, would you ride shotgun with Chris?
Chris who?
Williams.
Yeah, Chris is a good driver.
He's a better driver than you ever thought about being.
I wouldn't.
I'd ride.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, heck no, are you kidding me? He can ride shotgun with me. I ain't riding shotgun with him. I'm with Brian, though. That passenger side's the scary side of the car. Because everybody's, we seen it for the first time in Missouri. And, man, they adapt really well down there to not hitting that passenger door. So, but we tell everybody, it's going to get hit. I mean, but your driver's doors are going to get hit, too.
Yep.
So, I mean, we just don't want to see those full track shots. And, it's going to be really interesting to see if it's a fast pace or slow pace or that extreme classes. It's going to be extremely interesting either way. So absolutely. I think it's going to be really good, though. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And just, I think the confusion that's going to be inside the car is going to slow them up a little bit, but it'll be interesting to watch.
I think having the passenger being busy inside the car is going to change that passenger dynamic a little bit, because even if they have a dummy steering wheel in front of them, they're going to be busy and occupied with the fact that they've got something to do versus some of the other passenger experiences where you're just a passenger. You don't have anything other than just something to hold on to and hope to God that you don't have to hold the truck up with your hand, the passenger being busy and having something to occupy their attention with. I think that's also going to try and curb that'll help curb some of that stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gets a little shell shocked on the right side.
It's just, I mean, derby drivers. I mean, it's kind of I don't know if you want to call it a.
You've seen derby drivers get hit on both the left and the right side right at the firewall, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you've seen them get hit behind that.
Yeah.
Why would you waste a shot on a car that's built like this anyway on the passenger doors to begin with?
Sometimes, in my opinion, me personally is the only one I can talk about, but I know that I've hit people in the driver or in the passenger's door to send a message. You hit somebody in the passenger's door at 40, and they know that there's probably a reason behind it, and you just saying, hey, we're straightening things out. That's how I felt, honestly.
Yeah.
Generally, when you first start derbying, you just want to hit cars. That's honestly what it is. You want to smash stuff. But then you start going, well, wait a minute, this is a lot of work to just smash cars. Let's try to win. So let me start hitting tires and corners and stuff like that and trying to cause damage. But there's not really anything you can do to a car that's got a cage in it by hitting in the passenger door. Really, you're not going to do much. So me personally, I've used it as just sending them a message.
Yeah.
This is, you're going to get it. And that's just me, how I've felt when I've sent door shots. I mean, I know once in a Conti at Waterloo, there was a guy that didn't have a cage in, and I hit him in the passenger's door. I didn't realize it till after I hit him, but when his roof TP'd, I went,
yes.
Ooh, I probably didn't have to quite do that, but, it is what it is.
It was a straight shot from the rocker panel to the roof, right over the C-pillar.
Yeah.
That was fun. We've been to plenty of the UD shows. I mean, I haven't thought of much about that, the hits in that extreme class or anything like that. But everything's been so safe and thorough in terms of the inspections and stuff. I don't think there's any cause for concern. But you started to get into, and Sam, you got to be happy with the entry list that you got. The limited weld entry list is awesome. I mean, the mix of drivers is going to be
amazing,
fantastic.
We have a lot of people still asking how the heats are going to go and everything like that. So we'll take 2 out of the heats, and that'll get us down to 20. It'll be 10 heats, hopefully 10 heats of 10. Or 10 heats of 9, or however it works out. And but we've got 100, right at 100 drivers. So if everybody shows up, it'll be 10 heats of 10. We'll take 2 out of the heat, and then those guys will get locked down for the night. And then the consies in the morning. So the other guys will have so many hours to work on their cars overnight. And then we'll have a certain time they have to be done working on their cars. And we're going to keep that open air barn just right across from the arena. That's going to stay open this year, no pitting in there. And everybody's got to have their car in there at a certain time that night, so we can try to get a couple hours of sleep. And then we'll come back the next morning and run our consies. So we'll have 5 consies. The most that could be in a consi is 16. We'll redraw that morning for consies, so you don't have to run against the same guys you just ran against the night before. So we'll redraw for the consies. We'll come back. We'll take 2 out of the consies. That'll give us right to our 30 cars. A potential of 30 cars, and they're making the track quite a bit bigger. Where we had that big catwalk up on the east end last year, all that's going to be gone. They're pushing the track clear down to that end, so we can fit the 30 cars on there, no problem. So we're getting almost probably, I guess, another 40 foot of track. So it'll be a nice big track. If somebody does get a run from one end to the other, it's gonna be a wallop. But the track's gonna be super fast. They're gonna dig all the dirt. It's gonna come back up out of the ground again. So we'll use the dirt that's above ground all as our berms, because the moisture in that actually helped hold it together, and it did extremely well. But the track, obviously, we're not going to go through what we went through in 16 at both of our shows. So they know exactly where to dig. We marked it all out last year, so it'll be good. I've already been talking to the ground guys a lot. So we're going to be in good shape. I think it's going to be a fun show. We're trying a bunch of new stuff. Basically, we're using this show a lot as a staging for Blizzard Bash. So a lot of the cool stuff we want to try at Blizzard Bash, we're going to try at this show and see how it works and all that kind of stuff. So we've got to be lots of new light shows, and I don't know. I think Candace has ordered a fog machine and lights, and who knows what all she's got going on. So it's going to be fun. We've talked a ton, and just trying to make 17 a really fun year.
Cool. What late model race was it when they pulled the cars out? They did the spotlight on them. Do you remember that? They had the fog machine and everything was going. Was it the World Finals?
Historical big one?
Might be. I can't remember what year it was.
What was it, or was it the one? Didn't they pay $1 million to win? Like
that was the dream. Years? That was the dream back in Eldora, but they didn't do anything crazy. No,
it was a historical big one.
Might have been.
Sam, how impressed were you?
The first thing I thought of was Candace is talking about, or Sam's talking about Candace getting a fog machine.
How impressed were you with the attention that your modified class got? I mean, you have got pretty much a who's who list of names in there too. I mean, that modified class is going to be a nasty, nasty heat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that wanted to get into it that just either couldn't get a motor back together or couldn't get the cars back together. But the guys who are going to be there, I mean, it's going to be 20 of some of the baddest cars around out there. And again, on a big track that's super fast. They know they only have to run them one time, And a lot of these guys are trying to get rid of these cars. They're Blizzard Bash cars. Most of these are Blizzard Bash leftovers.
Yep.
And I say leftovers; they're hard as heck, and they're going to run them hard. I've talked to a few of the guys that are just said, "Hey, I'm just getting rid of the car," and so it's going to be a blast to watch. I got a feeling that's going to be a green flag go. 10 minutes of just holy crap, hang on.
Yeah.
So I think that heat's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's when I was talking with Brad Tice at the New Year's Eve party, and we were, I said, where are you going next year? He goes, I got to take my Blizzard Bash car back to Capital Carnage. He said, I got to test it out and see what it'll do. I got to know what it'll do before I build the next one. And I was like, that's pretty impressive. So I know what Brad's got in mind. He's going out there to test the nose of that Cadillac and see what it's got. So I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, just overall, the whole show, top to bottom, is just going to be nasty. Really looking forward to it.
And you were talking about introductions a little bit, Chris. We've got the guys who make the finals. They're going to be. I mean, they're going to be treated like. I mean, everybody's going to be treated great, obviously, as drivers. But the stuff that we have in store for introducing the drivers and stuff, it's going to be awesome. On Saturday night, we've put a ton of thought into it and trying to. We watched a bunch of different other. Whether it's racing or stuff like that, how do they do it, or Monster Jam, or all these different things, and how can we make even as if you go look at the PBR, how they introduce their bull riders and how everybody else does it. We've just watched a ton of video on trying to figure out what's the best way that we can to honor these guys and ladies that have been through just hell to get through the finals, and now it's time to give them a little bit of showcase. So it's going to be really neat, and we're really, really excited. So I
was reading on, I can't remember if it was Candace's page or it was a link off Candace's page to the UD page. They're having autograph session also, which is really cool. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. That's a great idea. I really like that. Can have the cars out there, and obviously, people won't be able to get very close to the cars because, with sharp edges and stuff, you don't want anybody getting cut or anything. But I think that's an awesome idea. I mean,
Blizzard Bash was the first time that we saw a focused effort in putting faces with the names.
Yep.
That was the first time. And now to take those faces and make those guys celebrities is absolutely a sweet move. It's going to do awesome things for all of it front to back.
Yep.
Do you think, hey Sam, what are the odds that the
every kid will get a poster? They're going to get a full color poster on poster paper. It's going to be a Capital Carnage poster, and then we're going to give all the drivers. We're hoping to have about 10 drivers that'll volunteer to come out. We don't want a ton out there, but we want guys who made the feature, got the cars back together, and they're comfortable with letting a few people around their cars. And so, again, like Brian said, we're not going to let anybody extremely close crawl in the cars, crawl around the cars. We don't want anything like that, but they're going to be able to get right up to them. We want to be able to look inside of them, because the big thing is for the people in the community, that a lot of these people have, they see them down on the track. They have no idea what's inside them. We all take it for granted when we see them go across the inspection ramp and all this and go, man, there's $40,000 in that car and there's $35,000 in that car. But the people at home have no idea, and that's what we want. Look inside these things. Look at these. They're pieces of they're a piece of art.
Absolutely.
And so the time these guys put into their cars, and it's just getting back to the respect for the drivers and letting people see how much hard work goes into these things.
What's the likelihood that the Dancing Panda group is going to show up at the autograph session, and would they be welcome?
I would say it's probably pretty likely. In fact, it was kind of funny. One of them got me in an elevator at 3:00 in the morning or something at Blizzard Bash, and and we're not offending you. We're okay, right? I'm like, no, you're good. You're giving character to the show. You're good. So no, it's kind of funny. They were super cool about it. They asked to make sure they weren't offending anybody or bothering. We're like, no, you're good. So I got a feeling though, if they're there to stay.
That's cool.
It was the Gateway Nationals, the indoor show.
Okay.
That we talked about with the late models.
Cool.
The driver appreciation is something that we've talked about a ton of times when it comes to our trips to Topeka, and we definitely. I want to make sure that we have the time to get down there just to check out the autograph session and watch that back and forth, because that's going to be super cool. I remember when I was a kid just going to a weekly track. It's not even like going to the autograph sessions at the Gator Expo and meeting the drivers you only hear about on the modified tour, or going to Super Dirt Week and meeting the starting 45 there. It was just going in the pits and seeing Steve Payne for the 7th week in a row and getting him to sign another business card that I could go home and put in the scrapbook. And this might be the only time through the course of the year, at least until we get the Blizzard Bash, that some of these fans get to see these guys up in person. And then, where are you going to do that? Because, are you going to let them get down on the track?
It'll be right down on the arena. Absolutely.
Oh.
And that's why we have to stop at 15 minutes before the show. We'll shuffle everybody back up into the stands. And so basically we're just going to open up the security gates, and we're going to have everybody kind of come down the security gates, make sure it's all nice and clean down there, to where they can work their way right around into the track. The south side security gate's really easy to get to. The north side, we're just kind of going to make a little path route. We'll have the skid loaders outside. So it'll be nice and open. And, people will be able to come right down on the track. As they come down, that's where we'll hand them their posters, so the kids can come down there. And, I think about Christopher, when he couldn't have been much more than 6 or 7. And, he's got these T-shirts that he had at 6 and 7 years old. And it's funny to go back and look at the drivers who signed them then and now how good they are and what they've done and, how far they've come. From just being on a local track in Iowa or a local track in Missouri, and signed his little shirt, and stuff like that. So I my kids are just like what you talked about, Chris, about how much they value those signatures and how cool it is for them. And so I think it's going to go a long ways. And it's been really good. So
you guys are opening up the vendors row to the general audience too again, right, Sam?
Absolutely. Right after Saturday morning. When that show closes out, we'll give Mark and everybody a chance to get down there, all the vendors a chance to get down to their trailers, and it'll be 15 minutes after the show. We're going to open that up. The guys who made it out of the Consi will be repairing their cars. It'll only be 10 of them. So most everybody is going to be in a really good shape. At that point, the guys who had qualified the night before will be about halfway done repairing their cars. They're going to get the 6 hours on Saturday from 9 to 3, but it'll be noon to whenever the vendors, usually the vendors about half an hour, 45 minutes before the show are ready to shut her down and go find their seats. So that's when we started reserving some seats for vendors and stuff like that, just because the vendors had no place to sit. Because they were getting guys parts right up to the time of the show, so we started working with them a little bit more. And so it's been a lot of fun. I just talked to Tim today from Smash It, and we're passing ideas back and forth on Blizzard Bash, and we're using we're using his radio rental people, and they're using some of our stuff, and it's been kind of fun to just compare notes and and just say, okay, here's our playbook, there's your playbook. Now how can we make even these shows even bigger and better? A lot of people notice that I'm not on Facebook a lot and stuff like that anymore, but I just kind of let Candace take all that. So we've really started into that transition time, letting her be the point person on all the social media, and and just start to transition a lot of this stuff. So by the time we get to Blizzard Bash, we've got all kinds of plans on how to kind of pass that baton at Blizzard Bash, and so it's going to be neat. So I really think it's going to be good for the sport and everything else, and just let somebody with a whole new different energy and different ideas take this thing and take it to the next level. So this will be our last. Capital Carnage will be our last sole promoted show. Blizzard Bash goes to a co-promoted show, and then everything in 18 will be all Smash It. So,
is Ultimate Derby keeping Capital City Carnage, or is Smash It going to take that?
No, Ultimate Derby won't. Ultimate Derby will not have any big shows whatsoever after 17th.
Gotcha.
Everything is Smash It. If Smash It chooses to keep Capital Carnage, which Tim is still undecided on that, but they're leaning towards keeping it. And it's one of those deals that they just don't want to oversaturate Topeka, or how many times can you get guys to go to Topeka when there's a lot of other big shows out there?
Sure.
So that's the discussions we're having right now. But no, if Capital Carnage happens next year, they'll make that decision after Capital Carnage this year. The arena's holding dates for them, the hotel's holding dates for them. But there's been no contract signed, so that'll be completely up to Tim and Russ as far as what they want to do with that. But they'll make that decision after Capital Carnage. But no, Ultimate Derby will only be, Candace will own Ultimate Derby at the end of 17, and that will only be county fair stuff.
Gotcha. And she said she's got a full plate just with that, with just between trying to coordinate everything and all the drivers that are still sending in well wishes and looking forward to working with her. It's good for her. I'm happy for her. She seems to be pretty happy with it, and how things have been progressing as well in the conversation we've had with her.
Yep.
And you're right.
She's loving it.
You're right 100% with she's got a lot of good ideas, and now there's a bunch of pieces in place to make those ideas come to fruition. And we bounced a couple of different ideas around with her in terms of how to improve our end of it, in terms of working with DerbyNation.tv and getting that pay-per-view out there and making it the best experience possible. I'm excited for it. And I really, really like the idea that Capital City Carnage is almost a test run, because otherwise, without saying it in the wrong words, we don't have a chance to rehearse anything until the cameras are on, really, with when we're out there in Topeka. We can dry run all we want, but until we get that producer in place with that technology and that camera, and we find out how it's all going to go together. But I mean,
all looks good on paper. We just got to make it happen.
Just gotta make it happen. So we test run it there, and it's going to iron out the kinks quick. And Blizzard Bash is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait,
because it usually is.
Think about. A lot of things we don't think about are camera angles. So the typical camera guys down there are used to doing hockey games.
Mm-hmm.
But when you tape a hockey game, you're a long ways away, and that's fine because you want to see the whole rink. And pay-per-view of derby cars and racing, they want to be right on top of the cars a lot of times, and then pan back out, then back up on top of the fire and stuff like that. And so what's nice is we've hired a new production manager that is coming. He's done work with NASCAR. He's done work with circle track stuff. Just a lot of stuff on the production side. And he's going to take our pay-per-view to a whole nother level. The nice thing is we're even going to be able to execute with you guys so much better, because the fact that you guys are going to know what's going on. There's going to be an agenda. We're bringing the camera guys in a full day early to train them on how to run their cameras better and all that kind of stuff, so we can have better playback. You get you guys way more information, so they're just going to tie everybody together a lot better. It's been one of the missing pieces that we've had, because you guys were kind of on an island over there, and the pay-per-view guys were kind of over on, the production guys are over on this side, and they were more of a hockey mindset. So I think this is just going to tie everything together really, really well, to where you guys are calling the shots. We can come out, and it's just going to be really good from the start of the show all the way to the end of the show. So if you've seen the pay-per-view before, I'm telling you, it'll be like the Derby World hasn't seen, in my opinion. And that's what I'm being told. I'm not a pay-per-view guy, but they've watched our other stuff, and they can tell us right away what the difficulties are with the camera angles and all this different stuff. And so they're coming in. We're doing big training seminar with all the camera guys Thursday night. So we're ready to go on Friday. So I think it's going to be really, really good. That's probably one of the pieces I'm the most excited about is tying all that production together and utilizing you guys so much better. Chris, you've had a lot of great ideas over the last couple of years, and we couldn't use them because we didn't know how to do it. And so I mean, it's been one of those things that this is the type of guy that can come in and be like, yep, great idea, here's what we're going to do. Cool. And so just way more open thinking. So I think it's going to be really good for all of us. And that's not a shot at the arena or nothing like that. It's just a limitation within the people we were using versus the people we're going to hire this time.
How are the Roadrunners doing at this point of the year? Is there going to be ice underneath the clay?
Yeah, I promise you there won't be. I don't care how the Roadrunners are doing. There won't be ice underneath. I don't care if they're going to win whatever division they're in. There's not going to be ice underneath that clay.
The Roadrunners,
I would walk out and be like, okay, I'm retiring today. See you later. No, there will not be. I got enough gray hairs from the dirt problems of 16. I don't need any of them in 17. I just want to have a couple really smooth events and leave a good mark on this sport. So. Absolutely.
Sam, how's wrestling going?
Oh, great. Son's doing well. I qualified for state, won districts.
Cool.
So what's tough is it's that playing both sides. State is the same weekend as Capital Carnage. Yeah, nice job, Sam, for booking that one. He has to weigh in Saturday night, so they'll go up and they'll weigh in and everything Saturday, and then right when Carnage is over, I'll get packed up so I can buzz up there and watch him wrestle on Sunday. So good chance he'll make all the national dual teams, and he's doing extremely well. So their high school team won state and set a bunch of records, and probably just as good a team coming back next year. So cool. He's excited to get to high school and get wrestling. So
what weight class is he at now?
Right now he's at 95. He's walking around at about 100 pounds, but he's at 95. He'll probably be 106 or 113 for high school.
Yeah. Nice. You're just going to start all summer, just going to start feeding the corn to him?
Yeah. He drinks a lot of protein shakes. He lifts 4 times. He lifts at 6 o'clock in the morning 4 times a week. He's pretty committed little booger. So
that's
And then in a few years, we'll see Sam wearing the Ohio State garb.
I tell you what, I would love it. He would be one excited young man. I promise you that. It would be it'd be pretty awesome if he goes to any D1 school. It'd be pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
But if not, either way, it's going to be. We're going to have a lot of fun while he wrestles through high school and just focus on that. We're getting ready to have an auction here. We're moving everybody. I mean, the school he picked is 6 hours from here, so we're moving everything. So you'll be seeing an auction bill come out in May sometime. We're having an auction in May of all the Derby stuff and a bunch of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of transition, a lot of good stuff, but we're just getting the family settled and focusing on all that right now. So
cool.
What's worth more, a world championship medal or an Olympic gold medal or all those hard hitter trophies?
Gold medal.
Yeah.
Gold medal, man.
Yeah.
State championship. And that's the thing is, I mean, with Sam being, his son being successful and Ben's son is playing for a sectional basketball title. My son is just getting to the stage. He'll be in 9th grade next year. And I've been blessed. I've been around a winning football coach for 25 plus years. And to see the look on those kids' faces when they win a championship, it's addictive. Like, I mean, it's you want to see all the kids succeed like that because there's nothing better. And I can't imagine like my son winning a championship like as a team, because I mean he's had some successful youth teams, but I mean there's not really championships in the youth teams that he's played. I mean they know what their record is, or whatever. But as a parent, I couldn't imagine the pride and what it's got to feel like to see your son be a part of a championship team. And I can only hope that someday I'm able to do that. But it's just got to be like amazing. I really hope, and my son works. He's doing a good job working in the off season to get towards it. So. But as a parent, I don't think there's anything better than watching your kid win a championship like that. That's just doesn't get any better, I wouldn't think.
Just to see the kids happy and excited, and it's fun to watch them work towards something and have success. Whether it's a championship or you beat a kid you've never beat before, or you hit some milestone.
Exactly.
To see that on their face, and Christopher's got this dumb deal that he winks after he does something good. He kind of winks at me and he's like, "See, Dad, we're okay." And so I mean, it's one of those deals that it's a bond. I mean, we love the Derby stuff and the bond we have on the Derby side, but yeah, to watch him have success is a lot of fun. I don't care if it's on the Derby track or if it's in the deal or if it's get an A on a test or whatever. But if it's something that he's passionate about, it's fun to watch him succeed.
Oh, absolutely.
And don't worry, he's not very passionate about school, but he loves the sports, and it's fun to see that drive in him, whether it's driving Derby cars or wrestling or whatever. He has that drive to succeed. So
it's very cool to see when the kids develop that.
With all that stuff going on in May, are you guys going to get the chance to get out to May Mania?
I don't know where we're gonna. Again, we're trying to transition. We got a big Derby in Kansas that I'm gonna help Candace with. That's why we've never been able to go to Bash for Cash. Is we've got that Tonganoxie show right on the same Memorial Day weekend. We've got that. I mean, the auction here with everything we've got going on, we're probably not going to be able to go to a lot of shows, and that's definitely no disrespect to any of the other promoters. But it's just we've got so much going on this year. We're putting a couple of our built cars, we're putting them away, and trying to run them the following year. But for the most part, it's going to be. I mean, we're selling. If it's not a built car, it's pretty much getting sold here, and then we don't even have a shop up in Valentine yet, so we'll build a new shop down the road and do all that. So definitely not getting out of the sport, but we're going to sell everything that we've accumulated over the last 20 years, just so I don't have to move it 6 hours, because that stuff's heavy and that's a lot of trailer loads.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
6 hours just to take one trailer load. I can see justifying selling it.
And an auction sells really good as compared to repeated 6 hour trailer loads. Yeah, that's no doubt.
But I guarantee you, it's going to be, like I said, we've done 10 years of the promoting and everything else, and nothing's going to compare to 17. We're so excited, and I talk to Candace 3-4 times a day, and we're like, okay, what if we tried this, and what if we tried that, and we got to make sure this goes smoother and that goes smoother, and it's just it's when I think about my son wrestling or whatever, that drive to succeed, that's where we're at for 17 on this promoting thing. I mean, every year we want to succeed, and every year we want to put on the best show, but I tell you, I want to go out on top, and it's gonna be awesome, and I want to hand Tim and Russ the best promoting company I can, and the best show that I can, so that those guys just pick it up and just keep running. So I tell you, if you're on the fence whether or not to come to the Ultimate Derby shows this year, I tell you they're going to be awesome. There's a lot of stuff that we've never tried or nobody's ever tried in Demolition Derby we're going to try this year, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Capital City Carnage is going to be a ball, and knowing the stuff that's already sort of in the works as the test runs, so that stuff will be refined and polished the way that everything else is at Blizzard Bash. This is going to be, we've said this the last 4 years. This is going to be the best year that we've had in terms of going out to Kansas and being part of Ultimate Derby's Capital City Carnage show and Blizzard Bash. I cannot wait. And then just knowing what the show is, and then you start looking at the people you're going to see there. The drivers lists, they're just insane, and you got a chance to get your fantasy team in, and then you can follow along on the pay-per-view right there. You can jump on SmashedEmpireMedia.com and log it, or you can go direct. The links are out there, right to the race stats page. You can log your team. It's all automated now. You just pull the name from the drop downs. It'll send your team in directly, and it should pop up there just within a couple minutes once all the stuff happens in the background, which is way, way, way easier than it was in the past. But going into tonight, we're at
awesome.
175 teams or something, and
2 weeks
pushing
out.
it now. Yeah, so
You're up around 500.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be hard at all. We'll be getting the links out there and everything all week long. Dennis put in a ton of work to try and help make sure that this was going to be fluid, and
cool.
He jumped right on too. Candace was having trouble with an iPhone, something that we didn't even know was an issue, and it wasn't a known issue, but there was one little creak that if you made these correct steps in line on this particular browser, it wouldn't load. Within a day, he had it fixed and up and running.
Cool.
Flawless, perfect. So definitely excited. Huge thanks to him making that all work mechanically in the background, because that requires a whole lot more brain power than I've got. All I did was say, look, I want to be able to do this, this, and this, and have this show up there. Whatever you got to do to make it happen, take care of it.
Go for it. Very cool.
And he goes, I can make this easier than that. Don't tell me. Just go do it.
Easier is good.
Yeah, and
Easier is good.
It's really cool to think that we went from having to manually load all those teams when we first started, up until just the last time we did a fantasy league, to now to be able to have all of it on record and have that ready to go it's pretty cool. I'm liking it, and then it gives you a whole lot of more reason to follow along and be really invested on the pay-per-view. And having Derby Nation.tv involved and working with them, I'm looking forward to that. There's more to come with that conversation too. It's good. It's real good. I think we're if we haven't already kicked off 2017 on the right step, we're certainly getting closer to it once we all get in the same place in Topeka here in 2 weeks. The show officially is going to be on this slide over here. There it is. March 17th and 18th is when all the action happens. The heat draw is going to be on the 16th. That evening, you're going to see the 100 drivers broken down into 10 pools of 10, and then a redraw, another neat little twist added to it. So the guys are running against new bodies in the consolation rounds as needed. 16 cars looks to be about the cap for those consolation rounds. The track's been extended by about 40 feet. They are not roping it off or changing it either for the mod class. There's only about 20 cars in there, so they'll certainly be making use of the extra 40 feet of length and all that width side to side. It's going to be fun. We've already established everything that's going on with the track, fresh dirt coming out of the ground. We found that to be the way to fix it times before, so sticking to that plan. The stuff that's already out that you saw as a track surface prior, that's going to be the berms. $10,000 to win in this one. It backs down by $1,000 increments back to 10th, $5,000 in a Mad Dog award, $60,000 in total payouts, $200 to enter. The limited weld class, it was a 100-car limit, and it is full. www.ultimatederby.com. Jump online. If you Google Capital City Carnage, too, you can find it out. The whole agenda is printed out there. You can check out the driver's list. Got logistical questions. You can go ahead and shoot those questions to Candace at ultimatederby.com. I think we covered it.
I just got one question, Sam. Are you going to do the original heat draws like you do the heat draws at Blizzard Bash, and are you going to throw 100 envelopes on the ground and pick out of there? Is that how you're going to do that, or haven't you decided yet?
I don't know how we're going to do it yet. I was talking to Candace about that earlier this week, as far as, do we want to do envelopes? Do we want to have guys pull poker chips? Do we want to go? I'm not sure 100% how we're going to do it yet, but we'll come up with some fun spin. But whatever we do, it'll be done in front of everybody, and I will not have any of my people touching anything. Yeah. So it'll be done right in front of everybody, so it's completely neutral. And again, we don't care who's in who's he. It don't matter to us. And so, but yeah, we'll figure that out. It's a little bit complicated when you get 100 of them.
Yeah.
As far as making sure you didn't miss anybody. or anything like that. And so it's, who made inspection, who didn't, do you draw them in, do you not draw them in, all that kind of stuff. We'll have all that figured out within the next week. Again, guys, if you need race fuel, bring your empty jugs. Race fuel will be on the property. We're selling race fuel right there. We've got ice. We'll be in an ice cooler or an ice trailer there. So we have ice and race fuel. Hoyt's Trailer is the main sponsor for this show. They're going to be having a trailer special there. We're going to be selling that similar to that red one that we gave away at Blizzard Bash. They're going to be giving a good deal on those. So we're going to be doing a lot of that kind of stuff. So come on out, and it's going to be a lot of carnage. It's going to be fun.
I like in the heat draws, like when you can hear the audible gasps and the audible reactions from the crowd around. That's always entertaining. just to see what people think. It's like, yeah, this is going to be neat.
The way to do that would be to get a couple bingo kits, and then for the shortage of bingo balls that you need to pull, just take sandpaper and put the new number on the top so that you have all 100 of them laid out there. Everybody can see it, and then from the order that they came in, B1 was the first driver to enter, and whatever extra letter you have to add or whatever for number 100, put them all in the bowl and just roll them out. Yeah. 10 at a time.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
And, most likely I'm going to guess how we'll do it is put every driver's name in an envelope, because that's the most fun is when you see the driver get pulled out and go, oh my gosh, so-and-so got in. Oh my gosh, so-and-so's heat. And that's the fun. It's cool when two of them, two really good guys get in there together. But it's really fun to watch everybody's faces when you get the third, the fourth, the fifth on the same heat, and they're going, "God, are you kidding me?" Yeah. And that's the reactions we're looking for. So most likely we're gonna have a big, massive board and writing them down right on the board as they're coming off and getting drawn. So, but we'll figure it all out, and we'll have it all good. Now that I don't have to focus on Candace's fog machines and lights anymore, so we got all those taken care of, so we're good to go.
Awesome.
Sounds good to me. Well, Sam, man, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us. Jump online. You can find more in terms of ordering that pay-per-view or getting your tickets, CapitalCityCarnage.com, UltimateDerby.com. The Facebook pages are active. Just search the name of the show or Ultimate Derby. You can find more information there, or jump on DerbyNation.tv for the pay-per-view stuff. Sam, we'll be in touch probably next week as we get ready for the final push.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys, for all your help.
You bet. We'll see you later. There goes Sam Williams getting ready for Capital City Carnage. Sounds like it's going to be a good one.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. When I was doing when I filled out my thing for the fantasy league, I was going down through like the final list of drivers, and man, it's
you only could pick two, right? It was two or was it three? I don't remember. From the national or from national from the limited world pool. You're only picking a pair from each of the groups that are on the track. Try to pick them.
I did one. I'm probably going to do another one, and try to spread it out a little bit.
Yeah. Don't tell me stuff like that, because that how before we've always said that it's supposed to be locked down to a particular email address. You can't double up, and it has to be a legit email address. This can check all that automatically, so none of that stuff sneaking through.
Oh, really? You're only supposed to send one from each email address?
Yep, that's always been the case.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why when you submitted multiple teams, your team roster kept changing, but you never saw the other teams in there. You never thought to look.
No.
Because you always typed in the team name and whatever first one came up. It was the only one that was there.
I change my team names if I put another team in, though.
I found your emails, though.
That's fine. But I've still changed my team name. Because I think usually my first one's usually Damage Inc., and then I'll do Crash Course or Tompkins or something for a second one. But I might have used the work email once. I might have done one from work once, so that might have went through.
That one I didn't catch. I don't remember seeing your work email. Yeah. My dad was almost working with you. He got a new job. Yeah, he got a new job at working as the maintenance tech for Bass Pro. But they had given him an offer at one point over at the county. Yeah, at the facility down on 96. So you're going to be seeing him on a regular basis.
That would be cool. It would job security, man.
That's right.
There's that. I'm not a fan of, after working there, I'm not a fan of doing things by the lowest bidder. It's crazy to see what our maintenance crew's got to go through. When I say crew, I say 2 full-time guys and 1 part-time guy. It's not really a crew, but
it was basically the same thing that he was doing with the rec center, kind of orchestrating all the grounds, making sure everything was taken care of. And now he's over at Bass Pro. They found out that, well, I'll tell you later. He timed the purchase of his boat wrong.
Yeah, they get a nice discount. Maybe your dad will have to adopt me once in a while when I want to go shopping over there.
Yeah, I told him, just return it. How hard can it be to return a boat that's a year old? How
Absolutely.
hard can it be? Oh, well.
Or over insure it and sink it, one of the two.
Well, hey. Just bury
Say
it.
that out loud?
Dig a hole and bury it.
I got a story about that too. Not with a boat, but I know somebody did it with a vehicle and then got caught.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well. That's going to do it for this one. Episode number 171 in the books. It's going to wrap it up for
Are we going to
us
have a party
here
at 200?
What?
Can I have a party at 200?
Probably.
Awesome.
Might ought to. But in any case, the pursuit of 200 continues on. We're only 28 away from now. We'll see you right back here again next Monday from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls. See you next time.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com. The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam. Bull Lockwood Motorsports and the 2015 Keystone National. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Masters. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.